Today, my friends over at New Grocery just dropped off a surprise box of ingredients for me. Stay tuned to see what I'm making. Sometimes when I have a day off, I like to order groceries and cook for myself. I am friends with New Grocery, which is Ottawa's zero waste grocery store, who used to sell some of my products when I used to have a product line before, that dreaded pandemic. Anyway, I had them drop off some wonderful ingredients for me in a surprise box so that I could just make it up today as I go. I love to make my own almond milk, and in true New Grocery style, no waste and using every part. So thought I would make myself some almond milk and then somehow incorporate the almond pulp that's left over into one of the recipes that I make today out of all the ingredients that New Grocery sent me. So I soak almonds overnight, and then I put them in this machine that's called an almond cow to blend them with water and salt and some vanilla extract to make my own almond milk. You could use your own blender that you have at home, like a Vitamix, or even a regular powered blender. It would just take a little bit longer, and then you would strain it through a cheesecloth strainer to get the same thing that I have going on here. But this is just a really cool machine that blends it and strains it for you all in one go. So the pulp is always left over. I tend to throw this in my freezer and then use it in recipes for like muffins or when I'm baking cookies or something like that. So I'll just put that to the side and put my milk in the fridge and grab my boxes so that we can see what New Grocery has sent me. So we have some kale and some hard firm tofu, some orange lentils, a little piece of old cheddar, and a piece of mozzarella. Oh, I think I have an idea already. Some garlic, smoked paprika. What else do we have? Oh, how cute. They sent me an apron. I guess I should definitely sport this today. Oh, well, I can't really fit it because there's a knot here, so bear with me. There we go. Okay, what else do we have in here? Oh, some sad looking eggplant, some sad looking corn, a squishy sad squash, and a bunch of sad produce. Oh, that's my induction stove beeping at me. I hear ya. So when New Grocery first opened in 2017, I sometimes would go to their location and I would spend a few hours in their back room with my little pressure cooker and induction burner, and I would turn some of their discounted and ugly produce into recipes that they could put into their deli counter and like sell for lunch. So that's kind of the premises. Is Sia over at New Grocery thought she could bring me a box and I could just make it up from all these things that are sad. So I think I already have some ideas. I'm going to put these fruits to the side, and maybe later on I'm going to juice those. I'm going to turn these into some kale chips. Let me get the oven going. 450. We'll do them real fast. Okay. Oh, I'll do a roasted dip with these guys. Maybe I'll make some crispy tofu. Ooh, and a lentil flatbread. Oh, there we go. Let's get this started. So for a lentil flatbread, I'll need to soak some of these lentils real quick. We'll just add some water just to cover them so they're nice and soaking for me. Then we need to get these on a baking sheet so that we can get them nice and roasted so we can use them in like a dip. So let me get my knife and I'll cut the ends off of the eggplant. And we'll cut the eggplant. Oh, and there's some smoked paprika here actually. And so I'm going to chop these up, and I will peel some garlic and get them into the oven to roast for us. And then later on, I will blend them in the food processor with some tahini that I have in my fridge. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get to this on TV, but I think what I'm going to do with this sad looking squash is turn it into a quick squash soup. I think I saw a piece of ginger in the sad produce over there, so maybe I'll make a squash ginger soup, and then I'll roast some corn and top it for a nice contrast and texture in the soup. So that's what I'm going to do with those, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna get to them on the show, so TBD. Okay, so then we have cheese. Oh, so my almond meal that's left over from my almond milk that I just made in front of you guys would actually turn into a really nice crunchy cracker. So I'm going to shred up some of this cheddar cheese and mix it in a bowl with an egg, and then we'll make some almond crackers to dip into this dip. I think that is a great idea. I had some baking pans, but I'm not really sure where they are now. So we'll just put this to the side, and I will prep my tofu. I'll probably coat this in some olive oil, maybe some spices like the smoked paprika, and I'll grate up some garlic, and I'll toss that all in some olive oil, and I'll get it into the oven baking. I've set the oven to 450 so I can bake the tofu at the same time as the veggies, and then when the veggies come out of the oven and the tofu comes out of the oven, I will reduce the temperature down to probably 300 or 350, and I will coat my kale in some olive oil and salt and maybe some garlic powder, and I'll bake that in the oven for about 15 minutes so that I can get some nice crispy kale chips to go along with my dip and the other things I'm making. We'll see you after the break.
Be sure to follow Daniela on Instagram at MmmChef for all the latest posts, including behind-the-scenes looks of the Simply Cooking set and some delicious culinary creations that will definitely make you hungry. And if you've missed an episode, don't worry, because we have you covered. You can tune in or set your PVR to one of the rebroadcasts, or log on to rogerstv.com/Ottawa or our YouTube page to check out all of our previous seasons and episodes.
Well, I found my baking pans. They were hiding in the oven. So on the break, I actually coated the zucchini, garlic, and eggplant that you guys saw me chop up in some olive oils and smoked paprika, and I roasted that off. Then I turned the oven down to 350, and I've got my tofu, which I coated in the same mixture, the paprika and olive oil and stuff, and that's in there baking now. I have coated my sad looking kale with some olive oil, salt, and garlic powder. I'm gonna pop these into the oven to bake along with my tofu. And then I have those soaked lentils here. I have a super high powered blender, so I was able to take those lentils, mix them with some water to get like a pancake consistency. I added a little bit of baking soda and like 1/8 of a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, which will help me, you know, get nice bubbles. So I'm going to pour this on my pan here, and I'm gonna spread it out really nice and thin. This will also go into the oven at 350. So I've got my tofu in there, my kale chips in there, and then this flatbread. Then we're going to work on my almond crackers that I'm going to use the rest of the pulp from my almond milk that I made earlier. And the cheddar cheese is all grated up for me that New Grocery was so kind to deliver. Okay, I gotta get this as even as possible. It's gonna be a delicious high protein flatbread which should actually rise a little bit and give me a nice bubble on the inside. We definitely want some flavor, and we all know how much I love everything but the bagel seasoning flavor. And so here we go on the flatbread. Awesome. I guess that will be my little piece. All the extra flavor. Pop that in the oven and let that bake probably for about half an hour. But in the break, I'm going to be taking out the kale and the tofu because the kale only takes about maybe 12 to 15 minutes. And the tofu was already in for about 15 minutes, but it needs another 10 or so. So the next thing I'm working on is these almond cheddar crackers. I have my remaining almond left over from the milk I made, the pulp, sorry. It's a little bit moist, as you see. So I did take some regular almond flour out of my pantry so that when I do mix this together, it's not super wet. I have 2 farm fresh eggs. If you don't eat eggs, you could use a flax egg or a chia egg or an egg replacement here. Or you could even probably use what's called aquafaba, which is the liquid from a can of chickpeas that you've seen me use in my condiments episode where I made an egg-free mayo. So we've got this lovely batter-like consistency. Gonna add in all the cheddar, because who doesn't like cheddar crackers? If you don't eat dairy, which a lot of you who are watching probably don't, you can use some dairy-free cheese shreds. We've got some really cool products out on the market now that melt and stretch just like real cheese. So I'm sure you could find a cheddar replacement that would work for your dietary needs. I just put in a nice huge sprinkle of garlic powder, and see this coming together to a nice like batter-like consistency. It is a little bit wet, so I will add a tiny sprinkle of almond flour, and nice, it's now like a nice little ball. So let me use my hands, no better tool, and we'll get rid of that out of the way. Okay, so we want this to get as thin as possible, and then I'm gonna score it with a knife because if we don't score these crackers, it will bake like one big cracker, and we want them to kind of look nice. If you don't score it when it comes out of the oven, you can just like break them and have rustic style crackers. This is also the point where if you wanted to add maybe some sesame seeds or poppy seeds or other type of seeds to the top of the crackers, you could certainly do that. But I think the garlic powder and the cheddar and a little bit of salt that's in the cheese will probably be plenty. I'm just gonna give my hands a little bit of a rinse. Okay, so I probably actually have time to quickly show you what I'm going to put into this dip. Let's quickly use this. See what I'm doing? I'm just kind of scoring so that I can get square-ish little crackers, and they'll bake nicely for us without, they're not even the same size, but that's okay. That means we'll end up with some crispy small crackers that are nice and brown, how I like it, and then we'll end up with some softer, larger crackers on this side of the pan. If you have more time and more patience than I do, you could certainly make sure that they're exactly even. I think I do have a spot in the oven. Okay, so I've got my kale and my tofu in the oven, Then I have these 2 sad limes that New Grocery dropped off for me. I'm going to squeeze them into this blender with the roasted vegetables. I'm going to add a big dollop of this tahini, kind of like how you would make a hummus or a baba ganoush, which is an eggplant dip similar to this. I'm going to add some salt, pepper, and I'm going to blend this on the break, and we'll see you after the break.
Food and discussion go hand in hand. Join the conversation on Instagram at MmmChef. Send us your questions. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you like to make. Maybe even send a picture of your own culinary creations. Good food, bringing people together for centuries. Be sure to follow Daniela on Instagram at MmmChef for all the latest posts, including behind-the-scenes looks of the Simply Cooking set and some delicious culinary creations that will definitely make you hungry. After all, we do eat with our eyes.
All right, that's going to be going for a few minutes, and as the fruit gets down, I will open the lid and keep on adding, and the juice will start coming out from there any minute. I've got my almond crackers in the oven, but I just want to tell you a little bit about New Grocery. So New Grocery is Ottawa's only zero-waste grocery store. They have a location in Old Ottawa South on Main Street, and they also do, in my opinion, Ottawa's best grocery delivery. You can order online from them, and they will deliver it to your door in all of Ottawa and the Gatineau and surrounding area. And they are no waste, so things come in mason jars. You can bring your own containers to their store, and they really do support local purveyors and food producers as much as possible. I have been working with them and met them at my very first networking event when I started my business, you know, almost 10 years ago. The ladies at New Grocery are fantastic. So if you're someone who likes to support local and you enjoy, you know, reducing your waste and helping the environment, I definitely suggest checking them out. New Grocery, like NU. All right, let's check this. See? Look how beautiful that juice is. Turn that off and refill. You guys see that I love to use mason jars and glass containers as much as possible. I also don't waste. I try to use every part of ingredients that I buy. I try to buy discounted produce and discounted meats so that I can just throw them into the freezer. I know that with inflation, the last few years, the price of ingredients has really increased. So a great way to help supplement and save money on groceries is to actually be a little bit more flexible by making it up and going to the store and seeing what's on sale or buying what's on discount and incorporating it into your weekly meals. And then that way you not only get to save money, but you also save sad produce and animal products from basically going to the landfill. All right, I can smell the cheddar cheese and the garlic coming out of my oven. Oh my goodness. Check those out. Now, I can't try them or break into them until they're completely cooled. As these crackers cool, the cheddar cheese will harden. As you see, the cheese has caramelized really nicely. If you had used a dairy-free cheese for this, you may need to leave them in the oven longer than I did, and they may not brown as much. So what you'll do is you'll touch with your fingers. I've touched them with my fingers. Listen to this. Here, this is a little bit loud. Can you hear this? That nice crispy cheese sound, that's the sound that you're going for on these crackers. You can use any type of nut pulp or nut meal in these crackers. So they work really well with like walnuts or cashews or almond or even pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. Yeah, they're really, really great versatile thing to kind of use up ingredients. I'm gonna turn this off and give us one more thing. So what do I have in here? I have some sad apples. Some of them had a little bit of bruises on them, so I cut those pieces off. We have some limes that were really discolored and yellow, so I took the peel off. And then we had the rest of that kale that was really sad as well. A great way to use up those produce, like I said, is for juice. So this juice, you can drink it, but you could also like incorporate it into something. So I could have mixed this green as the liquid in with my lentils, and then my lentil flatbread may have been more green in color. Let me grab a glass because I definitely want to try this juice. Look at that. All right, I'll give this a try. It's probably going to be quite tart because it has lots of lime juice in it, but oh my goodness, I can taste the ginger. Okay, so the last few ingredients that I have here, I don't really have time to do on camera, but I have this sad squash, this piece of mozzarella, and these 2 ears of corn. I'm going to peel my squash and get it cubed. I'll roast the cubes in the oven with olive oil, salt, and pepper. I'll get it in a pot. I'll add some stock or some water, boil it down. I'll blend the squash with salt and pepper and make a bit of a soup. Then I'm going to take the corn, the kernels off the corn. I'll toast them in a little bit of butter to add on top of my soup. And then I'll probably shred some of this mozzarella cheese, maybe on my flatbread, and make kind of like a flatbread pizza. I hope this inspires you to get some sad ingredients and some discounted food from your local grocery store and make it up to help save money. Or maybe it'll inspire you to look up new grocery and order some groceries direct to your door. See you next time.
Be sure to follow Daniela on Instagram at MmmChef for all the latest posts, including behind-the-scenes looks of the Simply Cooking set and some delicious culinary creations that will definitely make you hungry. And if you've missed an episode, don't worry because we have you covered. You can tune in or set your PVR to one of the rebroadcasts or log on to rogerstv.com/Ottawa or our YouTube page to check out all of our previous seasons and episodes.